Hello everyone and welcome to the Gaming by Geeks channel. My name is Adam and today I am starting a new series playing a game I'm really quite fond of, Transport Tycoon. Now for those who don't know Transport Tycoon, it's a very old game. It was first developed for MS-DOS back in 1994 and got an improved version a year later in 1995 called Transport Tycoon Deluxe. So it's a business management sim where you're an entrepreneur looking to build a transport empire. You can use any form of transport you want, from buses and trucks to trains, planes and ships, to move people and cargo around the map and make a profit. Now the game starts in 1950, I think, somewhere around there, 1950, 1930, and continues through till 2030, 2050, whichever one it was. And as you go through the years, different transport types become available. Now for those of you who do know it, are probably thinking this is going to be insanely boring, and they may be right. This is why I'm making this a YouTube only series and not streaming it live on my Twitch channel as I do with my Minecraft, as it'd probably be too boring for most people. It'll therefore be quite choppy set of videos, as is often, especially in the beginning, an element of waiting for money to roll in. Now obviously I'm not going to play the original Transport Tycoon Deluxe as it won't run on a modern computer. Luckily it's been remade in the form of OpenTTD, where it was reverse engineered and recreated almost exactly as it was originally, and then lots of additions have been added to make it far superior to the original. I'll leave a link in the description where you can download it for free if you want to play along. Now I've already gone through all the options to set it the way I like. Little things like changing the currency to British pounds, changing the speed limits to miles per hour, making the vehicles drive on the left, that sort of thing. There really are a lot of settings in this game, so take some time to go through them all and set them how you'd like. Let's get started. Let's click new game. So I'm going to start off with just the temperate default map. But you can always choose Arctic or Desert or Toyland, I think it's called. Yes, Toyland, to make it a bit more interesting. Map size, I think 1024 by 1024 is plenty big enough. The fact that you can make it far bigger is, well, that's crazy, because you'll see in a minute just how big this map is and how little of it we're actually going to use even at the end of the game. And the rest of the settings I think I will just leave as is. Variety, medium, terrain, flat, I mean that all looks fine. Map edge is random. I'm not going to change any of the other settings. As I say, there are a lot of settings, so I'm just going to leave them all as their sort of defaults for the moment. So let's click generate and let's get into the game. Now I will talk you through as I go along, so for those of you who haven't played before can understand how the game works and what the idea of the game is. But so across the top here we've got our main toolbar, where we've got all of the lots of different things that we can do. But for now I'm going to pause the game so I don't lose time talking to you and explaining what's what. But first thing I want to do is to zoom out, and you can see what I mean about the size of the map, and this is just a portion of it. I just want to have a little look around and see what I'm up against. Do we have any big towns? Big towns are good things to look out for, or certainly towns that are of a decent size and fairly close together. So that looks like that's probably going to be the biggest town. Fort's Trollington Green. Now look, here we've got a couple of big towns close together, so that's sort of going to be quite good for some form of rail or bus network maybe. Let's see, so we've got a few big lakes, some rivers here. That's good, that means we can use some boats and things. I mean, just look at the size of this map, and this was only 1024 by 1024. You could do what, way bigger, 8 times bigger or so I think it goes up to. So there is a lot to be working with here. The easiest way to get started is to just find a really basic, simple industry to link to another one. I'll give you an example. Let's have a little look around. So for example, I see here, this here is an iron ore mine, and this down here is a steel mill. So the iron ore mine produces iron ore, the steel mill takes the iron ore, converts it to steel. So that would be quite a simple one to do. There's also, there we go, perfect. There's a factory which takes the steel that's made at the steel mill and turns it into goods, which you can then deliver to some form of town. So that's a nice little network that you can start off with. There's a lot of steel mills here. I wish there was more iron ore, because you can get lots of iron ore going to one steel mill. The steel mill will just produce as much iron ore as it receives. So you can just chuck loads at it. The distribution here isn't so good, is it? 3 steel mills there. We've got 2 factories next to each other over there. There's another factory there. Here's another good one. A little bit hilly, but that's not a problem. Let's get rid of these out of the way. Coal is both coal mines, putting out decent amounts of coal, and this here is a power station that requires coal, and that's all that is. Simple coal to power station, that's it. Doesn't produce anything more, anything less. So I actually might do that one, because look, there's another coal mine there and another one there, so I can chuck as much coal as I can find at this power station, and that would be happy. So let's do that. So what should I do in terms of transport? Well, obviously I can't use boats. You can't use planes to transport coal. Planes are only for people and mail, generally speaking. So I've got the choice of road or rail, and I think I might choose rail, because you can do far more at any one time. You know, trucks are limited to size, so you'd have to have a lot of trucks, whereas I could probably just get away with one train, especially initially. So as you can see, there are other types of railway available on the rail construction button. These will become available as the game progresses, through time, that is. Couldn't tell you what dates they unlock, but they will become available. I believe you can build whilst the game is paused, but there are some things that just won't work, which you'll see soon enough. So on my rail construction tab here, you've got all of the different rails. It's quite old. It's isometric and tile based, so you have to choose the right tile to get the rail to go in the right direction. But the first thing we're going to need is a couple of stations. So I want a station to go that direction, and we'll leave it 1 track, 5 tiles long, and that should be fine. As you can see, there's this blue box around the white one. The white one is where the actual station will go, and the blue box shows the area that the station will service. So anything within that blue area will be able to be accepted by that train station. So in this case, this blue area covers both of my coal mines, so that's absolutely perfect. So I'm going to chuck that right there, and oh look, I can't build that there because it's paused. So I have to unpause the game, and bang, I've got my first train station. Now I need to put that train station down somewhere. Here, because I've got lots of different stations, I'll probably have 2 different lines. One for these two, because these two both put out a fair amount, so they could do a lot on their own, and maybe one that services both of these two. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So I'm probably looking at a 2-track station over here. Probably could do with a little bit of tidying up here on on the hill. So if I click on the landscaping toolbar, and I want to level out this area, so I can take the level button, choose a place where it's at the level you want everything else to be, click and hold, and you can drag out a space, and that will hopefully level out everything to be nice and flat to the level that you chose. Excellent. So now I can put in a station. Because I'm planning ahead, you want to do as much planning ahead as you can. So because I was thinking of doing 2 lines, it makes sense to put in 2 platforms now, or 2 tracks if you will, because it can be really a lot more expensive and sometimes more difficult to actually demolish and rebuild the station, because you won't be able to put 2 single platforms next to each other. You'll have to demolish the old one and rebuild it. So this looks as good a place as any for my 2-track station to go. There we go. So now all I've got to do is connect my 2 stations together. So again, a little bit of landscaping. I just want to pull this point up a little bit, like that. And I'm going to start building my railway towards the other one. Now, obviously you want to avoid going up and down hills as much as you can. Hills are a pain because they slow your trains down. So now I've got a bit of a problem, because here my track can come down, but you can't go down at these sort of angles. You've got 2 options here. You can either do the landscaping yourself, or you can just let the game sort of do it for you. As you can see there, it's the last, those 2 have gone flat, so it will raise these 2, and the last one will come down as a hill, and it will put a little bit of a sort of cliff edge thing on there for you. Okay, so now we've got coal going to this station. A train will take that down this line and deliver it to the power station down there. Okay, so now we need an actual train. So to get a train we need a depot, which is this button up here. Again, you have to choose the direction you want it to go. I want it to go that way, so it sits on the end. To build a train, you click on the depot, click on new vehicles, and then you can start choosing what it is you want to build. Now, let's face it, you don't have a lot of money to start with. In fact, you're in debt with the bank, because you start off with a loan. So you'll want to choose something that's going to be efficient. So obviously all the trains, as you can see in the little details box down here, have different running costs. So the cheapest one costs just 1,490 a year, and the more expensive is 4,000 a year. So choose wisely. And if you think it's going to be a highly profitable route, then you might want to take one a little bit higher. I tend to avoid the Kirby pull tank, the very cheapest one, because it's very, very slow, and coal's heavy. So with such a small amount of horsepower, it's going to be ridiculously slow. It's actually not going to earn you that much money, because you earn money faster, or you earn more money by delivering cargo faster. So you want to have something with a little bit of power to it. Even though it costs a lot more, you'll actually make more profit. So I'm going to take the middle one, the Cheney Jubilee Steam. So buy a vehicle. As you can see in the train depot, you'll see the little train appear. And now we need some coal vans to go on the back, some coal trucks even. So let's buy a few of those. Let's go all the way up to enough to get me 5. So there we go. You can see on the end of the depot screen there's a 5.0 there to say that this train is now 5 times long. So there's my train. Now I could just let that go, just send it out with any orders. Obviously it's going to do enough a job because it's got a closed track, it can't go anywhere else, but I still liked to give it something to do. So I click on the train orders button, which is the yellow arrow, and I click go to, and then on the map you click on the first place you want it to go, then do the same again for the second place. So I want this to go to the Chinstock Heath Mines and then go to Fort Exborough Heights. Then you just click the bar across the bottom where it says stopped. You'll hear the train whistle and off it goes. Let's get these windows out of the way. So now that a train has appeared, these coal mines know to start producing coal. So as you can see now in the station, there we go, there's already 19 tonnes. 29 tonnes, 38, it's going up quite quickly. And as it comes into the station down the bottom, we'll get this little thing down the bottom here, Citizens Celebrate, first train arrives. You'll get that for every time any vehicle goes anywhere for the first time. But there's also other types of news. There may be mines shutting down or new industries starting, so it's worth keeping an eye on down there. Okay, the train's coming back in to pick up its first load now. So it actually filled up just under half there. Not too bad. Now while the train is on its way, let me zoom out so you can see the whole thing. On the train window there is a white button, which is the show train details button. Here you can actually see how much cargo that your train has got, but also you can see your profit, which at the moment, as you can see, is minus £380. And now that it's delivered something which got it about 5,000, it now has a profit of 4,000. Now that goes down steadily because of the train's running costs, but it's already made more in one trip than it cost for the entire year's worth of maintenance. So as you can see, it was definitely worth getting a slightly bigger train. There's also tons of other info in here, not much to worry about. The only thing I ever look at is total cargo, just to see how much the train actually can take. So it's 270 tonnes, just because I can't be bothered to do adding up of the of this stuff separately. So 142 out of 270. It's got plenty of free space should these start to do a higher production rate. So one thing also to take note of is that the station will have a rating. The more your trains are in your station picking up whatever cargo it is, the higher the rating. The higher the rating, the more cargo you will get to deliver. So as you can see, mine at the moment is 60 something percent. All the time it's loading, that should go up. There we go, 66%. And so that will keep these two happy, 67%. If I was to get a second train in there, so that was, loading when the other one's unloading at the power station, that will obviously go up higher and higher and higher, and you'll just get more coal out of it in general. But for the moment, to start off with, one train is going to be enough. 60-70% is perfectly fine. And now it's just a case of letting that go, letting the money roll in. Let's have a look at it now. Let's see how much it's doing. 16,000 now. Now I can either make the second line, or for the minute I'll just let that run. And let's go and have a look for something else. So what could we do? One thing you will notice, if I don't know how well you can hear it, but there is every now and then a beeping sound. That is when some form of news comes in that is not front page news, like a train has arrived at a station for the first time. It's often a subsidiary request. So a lot of maybe towns or industries will actually subsidise your costs in order to try and get you to actually build something. Oh, look, there's one there. So here comes service subsidy offered. First mail from Sadingway to Peside will attract a 1-year subsidy from the local authority. So you click on it and it will show you the 2 towns. So Sadingway is there. The only problem is it doesn't always show you exactly where the other one is, but luckily it's right next door. So if I was to build some form of mail cargo between the 2, I would get, for the first year, much higher profits. And there's probably going to be a few of them. Up on this button up here, you can see all of the ones that are currently offered. It's often passengers and mail. Occasionally you get, coal or iron ore or something. Let's have a look at passengers. Passengers are better than the mail for deliveries. So we have got from Freeditch, which is there, so it's a big town, to Tondine. That's a nice easy one to do. 2 towns next to each other. Now rather than do train on this one, let's do something different. Let's go with road. So seeing as I've got enough money still to build a road network, the towns are already there, so all I've got to do is join these 2 towns together by some form of road. Roads can be a bit tricky because you build in half roads, as you can see there, but of course you highlight the whole tile, so you have to, depending on where you put your mouse, depends on which half of the tile you build on. So for example, I'm holding it there, this edge. As I drag and stop it at this edge, it'll only do half and half. And same for there, so that edge to that edge. A little bit fiddly, but nothing too difficult. Again, everything will need a depot. Doesn't matter what vehicle type it is, it always needs a depot. So prop that down. While we're here, it looks like we've had our first year go by. Oh look, I was right, it was 1950. So my train's brought in 29,000 in total revenue, that is. Operating costs was just 1,700. So there's a lot of loan interest there, so I need to deal with that loan. I need to get rid of that loan. And obviously there was a lot of money spent on construction and new vehicles. Again, it's something that early game you'll see for a couple of years, you'll then run out of money and you have to sit there and wait for the money to come rolling in. So for now, I just want to get this done. Let's get a bus stop slap bang in the middle of town there. Slap bang in the middle of town there. Let's get a bus. Now you've got 1 bus to start off with. So you go there, and then you get there. Now, orders on the buses, a lot more important, because unlike trains, they can just drive anywhere they want and won't necessarily go to the right places. So it's from Freeditch to Tondine. So I've done it backwards there, haven't I? Doesn't matter too much, because I got till October. Or what I can do is, because I've got enough money still, I can clone that vehicle, make a second one, but tell it to start going to Freeditch first. Now I realised that that's a bit stupid because there's one already on its way, but it doesn't matter too much. I think the subsidy actually only kicks in when you deliver people, so the first one will set the bus stop active, and then the second one should then start picking up some passengers. So that's going to work out nicely, I think. So let's see, so the first one, Citizens Celebrate, its first bus appears. There we go, there's some passengers. Now, did this one actually get any passengers? It didn't, no. But I'm going to tell it to go back to Freeditch, which luckily is not a problem. He's going to pick up those 35 passengers, or however many it can pick up. I don't think it can pick up many. Yeah, 31. So I'm glad I made 2 buses because it's now full. And this one here obviously has nothing on him. He's just driving around having a bit of a jolly, bit of a Sunday drive. Hopefully down here at Tondine there should be it. I was going to say a few passengers, that's a lot of passengers. I may need to make a lot of buses. That must be the entire town. Okay, see no subsidy offered there. It's still not live because we haven't actually delivered any passengers yet. So hopefully this one here will trigger that subsidy. Boom. Perfect. So subsidy awarded to Chinstock Heath Transport, which is the name of my transport company now apparently. Passengers from Freeditch to Tondine will pay triple rates for the next year. So yeah, look, he's now in the blue. He's no longer in the red. So £1,500 compared to £130 from the other one. But he should earn some money as well now. Yep, 500 quid. So it's only one way, of course, as well, the subsidies. It's only from Freeditch to Tondine. So as you saw there, it's triple rates, so 500 going from Tondine to Freeditch, but 1,500 coming back. So that should go quite nicely, I think. Let's clone these vehicles. Now it costs what, 10 grand for a vehicle, so let's get 2 more. And they are going to go to Tondine first, which is annoying because that's where they're going now. So let's change that to Freeditch, because I don't want the buses all lining up in one place and then nothing for a few days essentially. I want them to be sort of fairly evenly spaced out so that the ratings don't drop down. Let's wait a second for that bus to move away a little bit, and then we'll get the next one going as well. Cool, so there we go, we've got a little passenger bus network going. So let's have a look at our finances, which is the fairly obvious button. So the loan is still at 180,000. So what I tend to do is leave things for a little while, no more construction, no more new vehicles, just let the money roll in. So if you take away all of these numbers, this minus 38k, you actually have a fairly decent profit. Yeah, look at my trains, look, 43 grand. So what I'm going to do is start repaying as much of my loan as I can. Let's see, need a little bit of money because things go wrong, vehicles break down, need replacing. Obviously the more you pay off and the smaller your loan, the smaller the loan interest. So that should be less this year than 3,600. It should be maybe only 3 grand or something, because we're already halfway through the year. While we are waiting for money to roll in, let me take you through some of the other controls that we've got. So you may notice there's the vehicle buttons across the top. They just, as you expected, show you a list of all your vehicles and how much money they've got and all that sort of stuff, or how much money they earn even. Obviously the zoom in and out, I just used the mouse wheel for that. You've got your standard transport types and landscaping button. Here's the options for music. You can show the last message if you missed it. The question mark button gives you a little way of just, if you're not sure what something is, click on that and then click on the thing that you want to know what it is and it will tell you. Even down to actual things in the town, like okay, that's a bit obvious, but is this a office block? Is it a housing? It's flats, so it's mostly passengers, mail and goods. This is a cinema. There are 2 cinemas next to each other in Frieditch, and there's another one and another one. So Frieditch is like, I don't know, Hollywood or something. Yeah. So here we've got shops and offices, so this will be more on the goods side. Goods is something that towns don't generate. It's something that they require, and in order for you to be able to deliver goods, you have to have 8 out of 8 in the area that you put your station, whatever type it is. So for example, the shops and offices is 3 out of 8. Then the theatre 2 out of 8, so we're up to what, 5? That's just a statue, that's got nothing. That's a fountain, that's got nothing. So if I was to put a station here and it had only a small area catchment, I wouldn't have enough to deliver goods because it's not 8 out of 8. Whereas if I put it up here, we've got a 3 out of 8 there, a 3 out of 8 there, so that's already 6, 7, 8. So just these 3 flats along here are enough to accept goods. So if I was to put a station there, for example, it would accept goods no problem. Okay, let's turn off you. Alright, we've got our game controls up here, so we can pause and fast forward, which is what I'll be doing. You know what, I should probably do that now and get these things, get this money rolling in. Obviously you've got a settings button. Like I say, I mean look here, the amount of settings that you have are absolutely phenomenal. You can change just about anything. Okay, that month I did good, or year even, it's 52 now, so we've already lost 2 of the 100 years, so got enough money in there, oops, to repay my loan. So now all I've got is, this is my money and no more loan, no more depending on the bank. I am in the black. Also, you may have noticed there that where's that gone? There was someone new had started. So I have got the AI turned on, and I do have some people who will be playing against me, computer-wise, of course. So they have decided they're also going to go with coal. They found themselves a coal mine, and they have built an expensive bridge over a road, fair enough, and found themselves a power station. So it's pretty much copying me. And there will be more. There's not just one AI player, there will be more AI players. This is what I say about the map being so big now. I don't even know where my one was. Oh, there it is. I've already lost where I started. So my mine's still churning out, still up in the hundreds, that looks good. My rating's dropped a little bit, down into the high 50s. So I might need to look at that, maybe replace this train for one that's a bit faster, so it's not gone from the station so long, but we'll worry about that a little later. Going back to my controls, we've got the save game button, we've got the display map button. To be honest, won't really use this much because you can just zoom out and see the same thing. Towns button, I use this when I'm setting up passenger links. I like to change the sort from name to population, and obviously sort it by largest first, So Overdale City is pretty big. In fact, Sanningville's not small either. And yet it doesn't seem to be on the list there as one of the, is it 3-7? Or just, there it is. So, I mean, just to find the most populous towns, they'll give you the highest number of passengers. So you can really build some big rail networks around here. I could put a massive 6-track station and get passengers from both Sanningville and Overdale, and then have lines going out to all of these smaller towns all around the map. So that's an option. You've seen me use the subsidies, but that subsidy that I set up is already finished, so you've got to keep on top of them. And then we've got the stations button. This is another quite handy one. Shows you all of your stations and shows you just how much cargo may be waiting at any place. So for example, I don't have any cargo waiting at all at Fort Expo Heights because it doesn't actually have anything. Chinstock Mines, there was something there a second ago, but there are. CL means coal, and it's actually a little sort of bar here. As you can see, this Friedrich one is fully blue because it is probably got a ridiculous amount of passengers, 800 passengers. So just under half the town is at the bus stop right now, and that's with having 4 buses running a good service. So that's a bit ridiculous. Tondine should be a bit less. No, even more, 1,000 passengers. Wow. So, over half the town is at the bus stop at Tondine. So let's have a look at the buses. Are they doing all right? Yes, they are. They are bringing in money. So if I've got all those passengers waiting, it just makes sense. Let's build another one. I've got money lying around. Any further buses I build are going to make the same amount of money because there's no lack of passengers. The only thing you can have a problem is if you overload it, and then the buses start to queue up to get into the bus stop. That can be a bit of a problem, but generally speaking, unless you massively overdo it, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. A little queuing's fine. So there's another 2 buses. That's going to bring me another, what, 12k, 10k a year, something like that. Maybe more, a little bit more. Right, continuing along. Obviously you've seen me use the finances button. We've got the company info. So this is where you can actually, if you want, you can customize a little bit. You can change the name of your company, you can change your picture, your color scheme, you can build a headquarters, you can put that wherever you like. It's just for fun, it doesn't actually do anything. I'm going to put my name as my name, so it's definitely me. Oh, you can also see a company value there. I think at some point you can actually sell your company to one of your competitors. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you never know. You can also have a look at your competitors. So his company value, tiny compared to mine, but as you can see it's going up rapidly. He's clearly building things. He's got 248 rail pieces, so he's building quite a substantial railway. But he's also building airports, so he's obviously seen a good transport link that can be fed by planes. Now you can see your competitors' planes, and obviously he can see yours. I would say planes, any vehicles for that matter. So here comes a couple of planes going down to Sunbrook Green. So somewhere down here. Somewhere quite far away. really far away. Wow. Well, mind you, the airport's quite small, so I've probably gone straight past it, but can't see where Sunbrook is. But it'll be out there somewhere, obviously. Oh, there it is, look, right down the bottom. There's a little airfield. So he's obviously felt that Sunbrook Green is the perfect spot to have a little airfield. And these fairly slow planes, I'd say. 300 mile an hour. You can actually see that on the bar there. So you can very much keep an eye on, your colleagues. I say colleagues, your competitors even. That makes more sense, wouldn't it? What I think we'll do is we will leave it there for this episode. We have made a good start. Yeah, we've got a couple of transport links. We're earning a decent amount of money. Yeah, we've got a train bringing in 80 grand a year. We've got buses bringing in, I hate to think how much. 40 grand a year. So we're over £100,000 a year now. We've got no bank loan, so that is a very good start. Now it's a case of letting the money accrue up a little bit, get yourself back into the 100,000s, and start finding something bigger, because you'll want to have a little network system, and I'll show you what I mean next episode. So thank you very much for watching. If you like these videos, please give them a like. If you really like them, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time for the next episode.